In the beginning, before the land was shaped and before the seas took form, there existed the Kotoamatsu Kami, the heavenly deities who emerged at the birth of heaven and earth. From these divine origins, generation by generation, the gods manifested in pairs until the appearance of the seventh and final generation, Izanagi-no-Mikoto and his sister wife, Izanami-no-Mikoto. It is these two celestial beings who would perform the sacred act of creation, and from their union the islands of Japan and many of its deities were born. Izanagi, whose name is commonly understood to mean he who invites, was the male counterpart in this divine duo. He and Izanami, the female who invites, were tasked by the gods before them to bring order to the formless chaos that was the earth. The world at that time, as ancient texts describe, was akin to floating oil, shapeless, drifting like a jellyfish on the waves of the celestial sea. To this end, Izanagi and Izanami were given the heavenly jeweled spear, Ame-no-Nuhoko. Standing upon the celestial bridge, they dipped the spear into the waters below. As they lifted it, drops fell from the tip, coalescing into the first landmass, Onogoro Island. There, the divine pair descended and began the work of shaping the earth. On this newly formed island, they raised a heavenly pillar, Ama-no-Mihashira, and performed the first marriage rite. Each deity circled the pillar in opposite directions and met face to face. Izanami greeted Izanagi first, but Izanagi objected, insisting that, as the man, he should have been the one to speak first. Their first union, marred by this improper ritual order, yielded a malformed child, Hiruko, the leech child, who could not stand upright and was set adrift in a boat of reeds. Their second attempt produced a Washima, another child not counted among the legitimate offspring. They tried again, this time with Izanagi speaking first, and their union was blessed. From this sacred coupling were born the islands that would become Japan, Awaji, Shikoku, then called Ionofutana no Shama, Oki, Kyushu, Tsukushi, Iki, Tsushima, Sado, and Honshu, Oyamato Toyo Akitsushima. These were the Oyashima, the 8 great islands. Following these, Izanami gave birth to other landforms and deities destined to inhabit and govern them. Yet their divine work would not come without sacrifice. Tragedy struck when Izanami gave birth to the fire god, Kagutsuchi. The flames of her son's birth mortally wounded her, and in her agony she died and descended to Yomi, the land of the dead. Overcome by grief and rage, Izanagi took up his 10-grasped sword and slew Kagutsuchi, scattering his body. From the blood and remains of the fire god, more deities came into being, gods of mountains, rivers, and rain. Even Izanagi's tears, shed in sorrow for Izanami, gave rise to divine beings. Yet Izanagi was not content to let his beloved remain among the dead. He ventured into Yomi to retrieve her, hoping to reverse her fate. But in the gloom of that underworld, he discovered a dreadful truth. Izanami had already eaten the food of the dead, binding her to that place forever. He promised not to look at her, but his impatience overcame him. Lighting a torch, he beheld her decomposing form, worms crawling through her flesh. Horrified, he fled. Izanami, shamed and enraged, dispatched the hags of Yomi and the 8 thunder gods, born from her corpse, to pursue him. In a desperate escape, Izanagi used items from his body to thwart his pursuers. His hair vine became grapes, his comb turned to bamboo shoots, food to distract the underworld's monsters. At last, he reached the boundary between life and death, Yomotsu Hirasaka. There, he blocked the entrance with a massive boulder. Izanami, now sealed in the land of the dead, cursed him, vowing to claim 1,000 lives each day. Izanagi countered that he would bring 1,500 souls into the world daily. Thus was the balance of life and death set. Contaminated by his journey into Yomi, Izanagi sought purification. He came to the river mouth of Tachibana in the land of Himuka, and immersed himself in its waters. As he washed away the defilement, new gods were born from his clothing and from the parts of his body he cleansed. Most important were the three precious children, born from his face. From his left eye came Amaterasu, the sun goddess. From his right eye, Tsukuyomi, the moon deity. And from his nose, Susanoo, the storm god. These three divine offspring would each be given domains: Amaterasu the high heavens, Tsukuyomi the night, and Susanoo the seas. Yet peace would not reign. Susanoo, wild and emotional, refused to fulfill his role. He howled incessantly, his beard growing long as he wept for his mother in the land of roots, Nenokuni. His lamentations withered mountains and dried rivers. Izanagi, angered and weary, expelled him from the divine realm. Thus ends Izanagi's direct role in the mythic narratives, his presence fading after this divine expulsion. His actions, however, echo through every corner of Shinto cosmology. He is the father of gods, the shaper of land, the one who brought forth the light of the sun, the moon, and the storm. His story is one of creation, loss, pursuit, and purification, a divine mirror of the human condition. Even beyond the core Shinto texts, his legacy persists. In the Nihon Shoki, alternate genealogies and tales further embellish his myth. In Tenrikyo, a modern Japanese religious tradition, he is venerated as one of the 10 aspects of God's providence, underscoring his ongoing spiritual relevance. He is worshipped at numerous shrines throughout Japan: Taga Taisha, Izanagi Shrine, Kumano Hayatama Taisha, and many others. There, offerings are made and prayers are spoken in honor of the god who stirred the seas with a jeweled spear, who erected the heavenly pillar, who fathered both gods and islands. Izanagi-no-Mikoto, the male who invites. In his name is a summons to life, to form, and to the divine mystery that lies between this world and the next. Through him, the shapeless void was shaped. Through him, the gods emerged. And through him, the cycle of death and rebirth found its eternal rhythm.